Is it 2? Together we are the horror. Wind Chill from 2007. The Children from 2008. And Saint from 2010.
I don't know what sound a saint makes.
Or Sint, isn't it too?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to watch a brand new non-holiday film.
Oh, yeah. Hide and Seek.
Hide and Seek from 2021.
And we're giving that away, too.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's one of the giveaways. That's right. I forgot.
Last week we gave away 9 copies of House on the Bayou. Tomorrow, not tomorrow, January 2nd, we're giving away 9 copies of The Deep House. And on the 9th, we're giving away 9 copies, believe it or not, of Hide and Seek as well.
And these are those digital copies that are very easy to cash in online, watch it on any device.
Follow us on Twitter at Horror Movie Guys, also on Twitter at Horror Bulletin, or sign up for our free email newsletter. Get 2 little emails each week with our reviews in them, including some stuff you don't hear about here. And that is at horrorbulletin.substack.com, or follow the links in the show notes.
And the 3rd issue of Horror Bulletin, the monthly compilation of reviews, is now out.
Yep, the 4th one will be out next week sometime.
With bonus content.
Oh, yeah.
Available in print book and ebook, wherever fine books are sold,
Every
but especially
which way.
on Amazon.
However you like to read your reviews, it's available.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what are we going to talk about first?
Let's talk about Dead End.
Oh, that sounds scary.
2003.
Yeah, directed by Jean-Baptiste Andrea and Fabrice Canepa. Written by the same two. Stars Ray Wise, Lynn Shay, and Mick Kane. Hour and 25 minutes. Trailer in the show notes if you want to take a look. So, spoiler-free.
Spoiler-free judgment zone. Well, the lesson here is never take a shortcut on a road trip.
It never seems to work out in these movies.
It's suspenseful and scary. A lot of dark humor, while managing to be deadly serious at the same time. Ray Wise, who we could watch read the phone book pretty much and be entertained. He leads a strong cast, and the performances really make you sympathize for these people that are trapped in a really, hopeless situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, very good one.
Yeah. Okay, so now we head into the spoiler-filled synopsis.
You are warned.
Warning. Frank Harrington, with his wife Laura, son Richard, daughter Marion, and her fiancé Brad, drive to her mother's house for Christmas Eve. And that's about the only Christmassy bit to this. Oh, there's some gifts later.
Later there's gifts that play in, because there's stuff in the gifts that come in handy.
They make a joke about Marilyn Manson being a guy, and then credits roll. Yeah, Frank is he's an old guy in his later 50s, and he's got 20-year-old kids in the back seat, and he's a little out of touch. His wife doesn't help much either. Well, they drive the old country road in the dark, and Frank starts to nod off behind the wheel. They swerve but don't hit anything. Frank gets out and checks the car, and Frank wanted to take the side roads for a change rather than the usual trip on the interstate.
Never take a shortcut.
They all very quickly start getting on each other's nerves. 5 adults in a little tiny car on a road that never seems to end. Richard sees a woman in white in the forest and slams on the brakes. The woman gets into the car. Now, how many are in this car now?
6 now, plus a baby.
With her baby, and Marion volunteers to get out and walk back to the cabin they just passed. They drive back to the little cabin looking for a phone. And this little cabin looks like somebody's woodshed. I wouldn't expect it to have a phone.
No, it doesn't look like the place that would.
Richard walks off into the woods to masturbate to a poster he had hidden in his pants. How old is he supposed to be?
I think he's supposed to be a teenager.
Oh, he looks like mid-20s to me.
Yeah, he did.
Frank and Laura go into the shed and find a bunch of axes and weapons. Brad explains to the girl in white that he plans to propose to Marion. Meanwhile, Marion is practicing her breaking up speech on her walk.
They're not in sync.
No. Well, the woman in white finally speaks. She hasn't said a word until now. She explains that her baby's name is Amy, and she's really, 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 really cold. Brad looks over, and of course the baby is dead. He screams, and when everyone returns to the car, he's gone. Marion sees a black car on the road, and Brad's trapped in the back. It's like a hearse. They all get in the car and pursue the other car, but then they can't find it. They suddenly stop, and Frank gets out of the car. Brad's body is in the middle of the road. Richard picks up Brad's cell phone, and it's got Brad's ear stuck to it. Ha ha, nice.
Ew.
Laura tries to call 911, but there's already someone on the phone screaming for help. What? That's not the way that's supposed to work. Well, they soon figure out that they're completely lost, heading toward the town of Marcotte.
And that's the frustrating thing, the maddening thing. They're not lost. They're just driving on this straight road.
They've got a map.
They should come to this town,
Yeah.
and yet they keep not coming to the town.
Yeah, the town of Marcotte's not even on the map, but they see by the signs they're headed there. Everyone watches, and the clocks all stopped at 7:30. Richard suggests that it's alien activity. The road goes on, and it never seems to end. They see a baby carriage in the road, and Richard goes to investigate. There's a baby crying on the car radio. There's more arguing about the family Christmas dinner, because who doesn't like to argue about that? They get a blowout, and Marion says she's pregnant. That came out of nowhere. They all get out of the car and split up once again while Frank fixes the tire. Richard runs into the woman in white out in the woods. The black car drives by with Richard in the back seat this time, and once again they can't catch up. After a bit, they run over Richard's body on the road, already very dead before they hit him. Thump, thump. Laura reveals that Richard wasn't really Frank's son after all. Regardless, they put him in the back seat and dump their gifts on the side of the road. Marion opens up one of the gifts, and it's a shotgun. They drive on and see the Marcotte sign once again. Frank wonders if they'll ever reach Marcotte, or if the woman in white is going to get them all. Frank tells a ghost story about a dead family. Yeah, that's just what you need at a time like this.
Yeah, calm everybody down with that.
Laura, on the other hand, eats everything in the car until she has to puke. She cracks up and thinks the gun is a toy and points it at the other two. She shoots Frank in the leg, and Marion patches him up and they drive on. Yeah, she's a loon. Laura starts seeing people in the woods that Frank and Marion don't see. She jumps out of the moving car. Then they can't find her body, and sure enough, that black car approaches. Frank loads the shotgun, ready for them this time. He shoots the car, and it backs off. Laura walks up, and the back of her head is gone. She falls over, dead. Marion and Frank drive on, but they've mostly given up hope by now. Frank suggests they park the car and walk through the woods. If the road is some kind of endless loop, that might be a way out. They park. Yeah, well, you're dressed safe in the car. Let's go out in the woods.
It's worth a try at this point.
Yeah.
Because they're running out of ideas.
They park and start their walk. They hear voices and strange noises. They find a fence and crawl under. Somehow, they've circled back to their car, but from the other side of the road.
They are truly screwed.
Yeah, they are. They stop in front of the very same cabin they did in the beginning. Frank runs into the woman in white inside the cabin. Cabin. It's not a cabinet.
No, it's a cabin.
But fights her off. He punches Marion and knocks her out. He grabs his shotgun and chases the woman in white into the forest. Marion wakes up in the back seat next to Laura's dead body. There are shapes moving around outside, so she starts the car and drives away. Finally, she runs out of gas. Well, at least that's not unlimited. She continues on foot. She passes bodies in body bags. Opening one, she finds Frank's body. The woman in white and the black car appears. The woman says she's not there for Marion. She gets in and rides off. Marion wakes up in the hospital. A strange man in black visits to check on her, talking to the doctor. He says he's the one who found the scene. All the others died in the accident when Frank fell asleep at the wheel. They ran head-on into a car with a woman and her baby. He thanks Dr. Marcotte and leaves, offering her a lift in his big black car. All right. I liked it.
Yeah, it was very good.
There was a lot of screaming and arguing and airing of grievances. Yep, it's a real Christmas movie. There's a minimal amount of gore. Now, Laura does get the back of her head knocked off. But the scares here are more suspenseful than anything else. It has a lot of really dark humor and good comedic lines, but it's all done deadly serious. It's pretty apparent what the deal is, that they've been dead from the start and stuck in a loop. But the fun is watching them figure it out. It gets bleaker and bleaker until the end. Yeah, I think we were like 15 minutes and I called it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they died in that accident.
They died in that accident. Yeah.
It's barely a Christmas movie. You could watch this anytime, really. But I did like it a lot. The building tension and growing hopelessness is really well done. Plus, it's got Ray Wise, which is always a win. I've never seen him be bad at anything.
No, and this was really good.
All right. And then next up, we've got another movie called Wind Chill from 2007. And it's awfully, awfully similar to Dead End, I thought. Just without the road.
This one's more of a ghost story.
Okay. And it's directed by Gregory Jacobs, written by Joe Gangemi and Stephen Katz, stars Emily Blunt, Ashton Holmes, Martin Donovan, hour and 31 minutes. Trailer, of course, in the show notes. What'd you think?
I think I liked it better than you did.
Okay.
It was okay.
The spoiler-free part is that it starts out strong, stalls in the middle, and has a stronger finish than almost, but not quite, makes up for the slow center of the movie.
It's awfully draggy in the middle.
It is. It's cold, and it's sad, and it's pretty grim. And if you're a fan of ghost stories, you may want to check this one out. But it's not one of the best I've seen.
No, I've seen better. I mean, it was good.
An interesting touch was that none of the characters have any names.
Yeah, I thought that was
There's just a girl and a guy and some ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell us our spoilery story.
Well, a girl gets out of class after a test and walks to the rideshare bulletin board. She sees a note asking, "Anyone need a ride to Delaware on 12/23?" She takes a number and calls them. On December 23rd, she meets the guy at his car for the ride.
And if you don't like this whole a girl and a guy, that's all you're going to get in this one.
Yeah, they have no names. His trunk is full of stuff. He says he was just thrown out of his apartment. So there's lots of stuff in the car, which comes in handy later. The windows won't close properly, and the door often sticks.
I've ridden in that kind of car.
It's kind of a junker, yeah. Well, they drive down the highway through the snow. It'll be at least another 5 hours. After a while, they start to talk, but it's kind of awkward. He seems to know a lot more about her than she would have expected, and just over the line into creepiness. They stop at a gas station so they can have a pee and a fill-up and get snacks, and she can't get the door open to get out. She gets a little panicky until she gets the door open on her own, finally. Well, he turns off the road after that, wanting to take a shortcut.
Didn't we just learn about this?
Don't take shortcuts, yeah. Well, she doesn't like it, and she's also figured out he's not really from Delaware, and he's creeped her out. It starts to get dark. Before long, they run off the road and hit a tree, knocking them both out. She wakes up first and tries calling 911, but there's no signal. There's never a signal in these movies. No.
Why even have a cell phone?
Yeah, why bother trying? Yeah. Well, they can't find the other car's tire tracks.
They swerved to keep from hitting someone.
Yeah. Somebody ran them off the road, basically, and there's no other tire tracks. And it looks like they were alone on the road, but they did both see the car that was coming right at them. Well, she blames him for driving her out into the wilderness and crashing. She thinks this was some kind of scheme to get her alone, and she thinks he lied about everything, and it's all very paranoid, and she sounds justified at this point.
He definitely knew more about her than he let on.
Definitely.
He's a little bit of a stalker for sure.
Well, he starts walking for help, and she tries to duct tape the broken window shut as the temperature plummets. She sees someone moving outside. Did he go for help or come back? And who is this someone else entirely? She runs after the person who doesn't respond. Well, the guy comes back, says the gas station was closed. She doesn't really believe him, but doesn't have much choice but to get in the car with him. And they notice, hey, just like in the other movie, their watch and car clock stopped during the crash. Time has stopped. Which is kind of where you wondered, are they already dead too? Well, he admits that he did put up with that sign just to be with her for a few hours. And yeah, there's like a flashback of how he was sitting behind her in class and
Reading
saw
over
her
her
plans
shoulder, reading
and,
her phone as she texted her plans.
yeah, I mean, his intentions were innocent and sincere, but he's really used stalker tactics to arrange this ride, and he's really, yeah, it's too stalkery. Yeah. Well, they look under the car. Oh, yeah, because it stalls out, and they see the gas tank has a leak, and it's empty now. Well, she gets out to pee again, and this time sees several people walking around out there. The two chase after the men, but can't find them. They just disappear. The guy starts coughing blood, which is never good. He finds and explores an old ruined house, which is full of frozen corpses. Ew. Meanwhile, back at the car, she sees several walking dead men. One of them spits out a snake at her. When she touches him, it burns a hole through her mitten.
Well, okay then. That's not something you see every day.
A cop comes to the window. Yay, we're saved. Well, he wants money. The guy whacks him with a crowbar, and they both suddenly are back in the car, only his hand is frozen to the crowbar and frostbitten. Yeah, it's quite a confrontation with the cop. He's not being helpful at all, and so he bashes him, but then, poof, they're back in the car. Well, they battle the cold for a while. She reads an old newspaper article about a highway patrolman and two others who were killed on this very spot 50 years ago. We get a flashback vision to the patrolman pulling a woman out of her car, manhandling her, as a bunch of retired priests watch.
There's a monastery up on the hill or something like that, convent or whatever.
That's the bodies that he saw, yeah. Well, she finds out that the guy has been peeing blood, besides coughing it up. So he's had internal injury since the crash, but he didn't want to scare her. And they are kind of getting friendlier. So, and she finds an old telephone, wants to climb up onto the pole and jack in to call for help. And he just happens to have a phone in the back seat because he had all that stuff. Well, she climbs up the pole, breaks the box open, plugs in her phone, gets a dial tone. She calls 911, but it's a bad connection. And for some reason, she doesn't try to call back.
You go to all the trouble of finding a phone, climbing up that pole in the snowstorm, breaking over the box, plugging it in, dialing, getting a connection, and not trying a second time.
She doesn't.
Why would you not at least call back?
Why would you not? Yeah.
Well, anyway.
When she comes back down from the pole, she finds a dead woman waiting for her. She runs back to the car, and the guy inside is dead. A snowplow truck drives up, takes her away, along with the guy's body. So this is legit.
A real guy.
This is a real guy in a real truck, yeah. The driver tells her about the bad cop in the 50s who killed some people, and that was a place that he hung out and, nailed people. Several people had frozen to death in that very spot over the years. And then in 1961, a bunch of priests were found frozen to death in their beds up on the hill.
1961, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A car appears out of nowhere and drives them off the road. They roll over. The driver goes out to help the other car, but sees that it's the 1950s police car. The car starts to burn. A bunch of priests come down and pull out his radio. And we realize we're seeing a
reenactment,
a recreation, a ghostly, reenactment of what happened. The cop, they knew he was a bad cop.
And they let him die.
They let him die, yeah.
They watched him die.
Yeah, so the priests are bad. All these people are bad, yeah. Well, they watch as the cop burns to death, but he's been dead for decades. This is just a flashback or, an echo or whatever, a ghostly recreation. He jumps out of the car and touches the snowplow driver, who freezes solid on the spot.
Ouch.
Yeah. The girl wakes up in the car next to the dead guy. The sun has come up. We see the guy walking off into the woods. He's one of the ghosts now, and basically leads her to safety, to the gas station, where she gets help.
Okay, well, you made it sound really
But
good.
he's trapped there now, too, I guess, as one of the ghosts.
I guess the basics of the story
There's
is pretty
something
good,
about
but
this spot that all these people that died there
yeah,
remain
they
as
hang
ghosts.
around.
Yeah.
They watched American Horror Story too many times where the ghosts stay there.
Inspired by that or something, yeah.
Well, I found it incredibly boring. Yeah, you make the story sound pretty good there in the summary, but it's so stretched out. It was all going well. I was very interested in these two until the car crash, where the film literally and metaphorically comes to a screeching halt. Way too much sitting in the car talking. I don't care how nice and innocent the guy actually was. Arranging all that stuff to get her to ride with him was a stalker and more than a little creepy. The story about the cop, the priest, and the others isn't told until the very end. This might have been a lot more effective if we had known more about what was going on earlier in the film. Overall, it is very dark, very moody, and very cold. But the explanation was too little too late by the end, and I thought it was tediously slow at times.
At times, but overall, I liked it.
You have no regrets?
Overall, no.
Okay, I'm not going to watch it again.
No.
No.
No, probably not.
Did we watch any short films this week?
We saw a short film, New Year's Scary Story.
Happy New Year!
2020.
Yeah, this episode will air on January 1st, 2022. See you next year. Okay.
So this was written and directed by
Sion. And we have done one previously for her for one of our Thanksgiving episodes. It's animated, 7 minutes long, and there's a YouTube link to watch it in the show notes. All right. What'd you think?
It was all right.
Well, what happens?
It was a cartoon. Well, every year her family puts on a New Year's Eve party. This year, she decided to do something else. She went to a party with 3 of her friends. Instead of the party, they decided to go to a isolated cornfield and set off New Year's Eve fireworks.
I just wanted to go to a cornfield on New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm. 2 of them decide to walk deeper down the path, while our girl stays behind with a boy. They all see one of the fireworks going off, and soon after, 2 who went into the cornfield return, but they are different now.
Their eyes are black.
Demonic or something.
Yeah, stuff happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, it's more of a narrated slideshow than real animation, but it's nicely drawn and has a fun style with a ton of different scenes. The story has a campfire feel to it, not anything outrageously innovative, but it is well told, and the animation is fun.
Worth checking out.
And you're not a cartoon fan, though.
No, but this one was okay.
Is that?
I didn't hate it.
High praise for any animated thing with you.
It's got a good story.
And next up, we have The Children from 2008, directed by Tom Shankland, written by Paul Andrew Williams and Tom Shankland, stars Eva Berthasel, Stephen Campbell Moore, Jeremy Sheffield, hour and 24 minutes. Trailer to watch in the show notes as usual. The spoiler-free part is that if you hate children, you'll love this. If you love children, it'll creep you out. Either way, it's thoroughly, okay. It's not great, though, as the children are really annoying and the parents are really stupid.
They often are, yeah.
Yeah.
Right on both of those.
It's one of those bad situations made worse by stupidity.
It didn't help, yeah.
And annoying children. All right, well, 2 families are spending Christmas together. Casey is a moody teenager who doesn't want to be there, but she has to deal with it. Little autistic Polly pukes all over the car, apparently car sick. There are just too many little kids, and they're all obnoxious and annoying. The parents are less annoying, but only by a little bit. Little Leah coughs up something tasty, something nasty.
Nasty, not tasty.
It might have been tasty,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
And wipes it on her pillow. Ew. Casey goes outside to find cell phone reception and hears something in the woods. There's something out there. Everyone then goes to bed. The next day, it's bright and sunny, and everyone heads outside to play in the snow and do some sledding. They can't find the cat. Little Polly won't stop banging on his damn xylophone. Oh, that kid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. The 2 fathers try to talk about business and medicine as the kids have a snowball fight, and it doesn't go well. Jonah wants Robbie to invest in his Chinese drug import venture, and it sounds like he's one of those guys that's always got a scheme going.
Mm-hmm. Chasing the dream.
And everybody knows it. It's like that one relative with the MLM that comes to every party. Hey, you want to buy my Amway? Is Amway still a thing?
I believe it is.
What's big now?
Amway's pretty big still.
Okay. Hey, you all want to buy
I
some
believe so.
Amway?
Yeah.
No, don't do that. Go to horrorguys.com and buy some books. Well, the kids start feeling sick around lunchtime. The mass crying begins. Miranda goes berserk and hits her mother in the eye. Everyone goes back outside, and Robbie gets impaled in a sledding accident that is not quite an accident.
The kids set it up.
Polly, who has a thing about cutting people with knives, even before all this started, apparently he cuts people with knives. And he's like 4, so...
But now it's amplified.
Yeah. He picks up a knife and cuts his father's arm, then runs off into the woods. Robbie dies from his snow sledding incident, and Elaine sends Casey off into the woods to find the little kids. Elaine goes out to cover up Robbie's corpse, but it's missing. There are sled marks on the ground, with a blood trail, of course. Polly then lures Elaine up into the jungle gym, and that goes badly for her. Yeah,
Painful. That was painful to watch. There's a leg break.
Well, the sledding
you wince.
incident, that was an accident. I could see that happening in real life, I suppose. This thing with the jungle gym, she was just stupid. But then a whole bunch of stuff happens all at once, accompanied by much excessive screaming. Finally, that evil little shit, Polly, gets what's coming to him. But his mother isn't at all pleased.
Not surprising.
Oh, well. Chloe accuses Elaine of killing her child, which she did, but he had it coming.
Yeah, it was self-defense.
Chloe thinks the whole family is insane and runs off looking for her remaining children. Casey thinks it's a disease since she's been finding puke puddles all over. And she figures out that the little kids are murdering psychopaths. Chloe finds Leah and Nikki in the woods, but they stab her eyes out. Bet she's happy now. Meanwhile, Miranda is upstairs beating the cat to death with her phone, and Jonah thinks that Elaine murdered Polly and Casey and has attacked Miranda, but it was the other way around. He takes Miranda and drives away. Soon, it's Leah and Nikki against Elaine and Casey. Casey kills Nikki and wants to stab Leah, but Elaine makes her stop. It sounds like a whole lot of kids killing each other. The two get into the car and leave her behind. There's nothing but static on the radio. Soon they pass Jonah's car on the road and find Jonah buried in the snow. Elaine runs Miranda down with her car on purpose. Casey pukes up yellow stuff. Was it just nerves, or is she infected?
Yeah, did you mention Jonah leaving with Miranda?
I don't think I did.
Yeah, I think you missed that. Yeah, they took off. The adult Jonah left with little girl Miranda, and I was thinking, oh, that's not going to work well for Jonah.
He takes his kid and goes home.
And it does not.
It does not, no.
Yeah.
All right.
All the children have lost their minds.
Yeah, soon there are dozens of children surrounding Elaine's car. It wasn't just their kids. It's some kind of plague. Casey gets in the car and they drive on. Did we get a look from Casey there at the end saying she was infected, or were we just left with a doubt?
We're left with a doubt.
Okay.
And it made me wonder if maybe everybody's infected and it just affects the children first, gradually sets in.
She held out longer because she was older.
She was older, and maybe it would eventually affect the adults too, but it's an apocalypse movie.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I thought our family Christmas get-togethers were messed up, but it doesn't hold a candle to these guys. If you didn't hate children before this film, you will afterward, even ignoring the horror elements. These kids are just annoying as hell from the get-go. 30 minutes into the film, and I was ready to go in with the chainsaw and solve all their problems before they began. Jonah was continually harping on Chinese medicine early on, so I guess we're supposed to assume that this is some kind of Chinese virus that the kids picked up on one of his trips. But there are signs throughout the film that it's not just their house. Lisa on the phone mentioned someone got sick at their family. The ambulance calls promised to arrive later and later. Oh, we'll be there in 10 minutes. We'll be there in half an hour. Might be a couple hours before we make it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And the radio stations didn't seem to be working at all. It's effective. It's creepy. The kids are ultra annoying, but at least they die in entertaining ways. Am I allowed to say that about kids?
I guess so. They made a movie about it.
All right. If you like kids or if you hate kids, you might want to take a look at this one. It's special. And then we have Saint from 2010, also known as Sint. Written and directed by Dick Moss. Stars Egbert Jan Weber, Bert Lupins, Carol Linson, and Hoob Staple. Hour and 25 minutes.
And yes, this is a foreign movie.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Takes place in Amsterdam.
Amsterdam is a foreign place?
It is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they talk funny there.
And their customs are a little different, too.
And that's the most interesting part of this.
Interesting,
yeah.
seeing how they celebrate Christmas.
Well, your parents only told you that he doesn't exist, comes up on the screen. Sinterklaas, or Saint Nick, attacks Amsterdam, which happens every 32 years on the full moon. Does you think he's related to the guy from Jeepers Creepers?
Maybe.
Only one man remembers the last time he came, and he wants to do something about it. Only no one else believes anymore. Anyway, we liked it. It's fun and a little exotic as well. Christmas in Amsterdam.
Yeah, the big holiday is the 5th and 6th of December instead of our 24th, 25th.
Yeah, Saint Nick Day or Eve or something.
We'll get to that.
Well, we start out in 1492 A.D. A bishop, all dressed in red, rides a horse into town, surrounded by an entourage. The villagers pull their children inside and hide. His men raid the village, crawling down chimneys and eating their food. They place a note on the door of things they want delivered before the next full moon. He wants gold, meat, treats, and servants. Then they take away a child in a sack as well. Sounds very Krampusy. The peasants are, as always, revolting, so they turn on the bandits. They kill the guards and torch the bishop's ship. They watch him howl at the moon as he and his ships burn. Then we fast forward to 1968. Children watch a TV show about St. Nicholas. The father yells at young Gort to go down and check the pigs. He goes out and the pigs are spooked, but Gort talks them down. Meanwhile, in the house, the fire goes out and the children are sucked up the chimney. Something jumps up and gets the father. Gort watches as St. Nick, on his horse, flies off the roof and leaves the scene. Inside, Gort finds the bones of his family.
Zombie St. Nicholas.
Yeah, he's very undead looking. And then we pop over to Amsterdam in the present day. Ooh, we got some time jumps.
Yeah, we did.
Well, in class, it's St. Nick Eve Day. 6 of the girls get dildos as gifts. You know, they never gave dildos as gifts in my high school class.
No, mine either.
Don't think I ever saw one in high school class. Frank opens his box to find a box of junk returned by his ex-girlfriend, Sophie. His girlfriend talks about how he cheated on her. Of course, she was cheating on him as well. Yep, sounds like high school. There's a full moon tonight, which only happens on the holiday every 32 years. That's when St. Nicholas is out to get you. Laura's dad is with the police, and he has stories. Well, grown-up, Detective Gort walks into the police station, sees a gift on his desk, and shoots it, destroying 4 bottles of wine inside.
He really doesn't enjoy the holiday season.
No, he's got a thing. His colleagues know about his anti-Christmas obsession, and it's all just a joke to them. His boss, the chief of detectives, is not amused, suggesting that Gort needs to get therapy. It's been 32 years since his parents were killed, and he wants to cancel everything. December the 5th will never be the same if we do nothing, he yells. Night falls, and the fog rolls in. The harbor patrol smells something burning. There's a large boat on radar heading straight toward them, and boom.
Boom, there it is.
I mean, straight toward them.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, no more harbor patrol. Well, Frank talks to Lisa on the phone, and then he goes out to play St. Nicholas he's dressed up for a party. Gort tells the bartender that St. Nick is coming back for revenge tonight, and strangely enough, no one believes him. Sophie is at home babysitting and decides to light a fire in the fireplace. Her little brother yells that something is up on the roof. She explains to him that St. Nicholas and Black Peter don't exist. Sophie's fire goes out and the screaming starts. Lisa was on the phone with her and runs to the house to see what was the matter. She finds her body hanging upside down in the chimney.
Uh-oh.
Frank and his friends in blackface, dressed as St. Nick and Black Pete's, have to stop for a pee, and they run into this real St. Nick and his real helpers.
And I was reading a little bit about that in the real world, that is a real tradition, dressing up as St. Nicholas and Black Pete and blackface. which of course
Doesn't fly much today.
It stirs up some racial, and
But does it over there?
Well,
they don't really have the same problems we do.
But some are saying, "Oh, that's racist," and some are just saying, "Oh, get over it. It's just a fun tradition." But yeah, there was more. I think maybe more this year than previous years. But I was reading something about that.
Yeah, well, they've been doing it a very long time.
It's a thing that they do. Yeah, well, and that's what it's a long tradition, which they're saying, "Oh, it's just fun tradition," and but people saying, "Yeah, that's racist."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Frank kills some of them, mostly by accident because he's not really good at this, and then drives away. He's almost immediately arrested for Sophie's murder, which he didn't even know about. Lisa sticks up for Frank, saying he would never have killed Sophie. The investigator tells the facts to the chief of detectives, who is the same guy that Gort had been talking to about St. Nicholas. The chief wants Gort brought in, quietly, because he's a suspect now. Meanwhile, at the hospital, the nurse checks out the children's ward. The children are asleep, all snug in their beds, as dark shapes skulk around the corridors. The power goes out, and St. Nicholas arrives.
Santa!
Bad things happen.
Yeah.
The police pursue Nick, riding on a horse across the rooftops. One of the cops shoots Santa's horse, which then falls on top of the police car and crushes it. Frank gets out of the car and watches the horse come back to life and walk away after crushing the policeman in the car.
And this was a pretty good mix, I thought, of real effects and CGI.
I thought it was very well done. Yeah. It's
real,
11 years old now, but it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It looks good.
There's actually a university that has horse treadmills where they used for some of the filming.
Huh. Okay.
To
get a real horse run.
Yeah, to have a horse, but to have the horse running in one place, part of the stuff they use for the effects.
Okay. Then Gort comes after Nick with a flamethrower, and Nick rides away.
He don't like fire.
Gort explains that last time the government covered up the hundreds of murders, but he remembers the truth. Gort and Frank team up. The chief of detectives and the mayor are already trying to keep it all quiet. Gort wants to blow up St. Nicholas's boat, which will remove the curse forever. Frank calls Lisa and warns her to stay inside. Frank and Gort are picked up by the police boat, who find their explosives. They head toward the old harbor, which is where Gort was going in the first place. They pick up St. Nick's boat on the radar, and then they hear the crying children on board the other ship, because the Black Petes always carry away the children.
Yep.
Soon it's a battle between the police and the Black Peters, and the police mostly lose. Soon it's just Gort and Frank against the servants of the evil bishop. Gort gets the detonator ready. They've got 5 minutes till midnight, when they can destroy the ship and end this mess. He shows Frank what to do, and then Gort dies from his wounds. Frank launches the boat and gets ready to explode the bomb when the police arrive. They all watch the Black Peters reboard the ship, except for the ones who attack the SWAT team. More fighting commences. St. Nicholas himself arrives just as Frank blows up their boat. The Black Peters all fall over dead, but Nick rides away. The chief tells the mayor that around 300 people died that night. This is worse than the previous time. They'll try really hard to cover it all up, and they pin a lot of the murders on Gort.
Yeah, he's saying he just went crazy.
Yeah. The chief's goon visits Frank in the hospital and offers him money from the mayor to stay quiet. And he also gives him an all-expense paid for medical treatment for his ailing mother. Lisa comes in, and Frank says he'll tell her all about what happens in about 32 years. Okay.
Maybe he'll be back.
Well, in Amsterdam, the big Christmas holiday, St. Nicholas Eve, is on December 5th, not the 25th, and the 6th is called St. Nicholas's Name Day. And half the fun of a film like this is seeing how differently they treat the holidays there. It's pretty neat. I didn't know much about the St. Nicholas story from the Netherlands and Northern Europe, but it sounds a lot scarier than Santa Claus. This is well done. Nick has cool makeup, and the visuals are fun as well. The CGI with the horse isn't perfect, but it works for a laugh or two. And this one is definitely worth seeing if you can keep up with the very wordy subtitles.
Yeah, it was subtitled.
There's a lot of talking in this one.
Mm-hmm, but worth it.
Yeah, definitely. I had never heard of this one before this year, but it's definitely worth seeing.
In 2010.
Yeah, it's been around. right. In the last couple of weeks, we've been doing some new films that we were also giving away copies of. And this would be the third one of those. We've got Hide and Seek, released this year.
So we're going to talk about it, but not spoil it too heavily.
We're not going to go too heavily into this one, no.
This is also one you should see fresh, not knowing a lot into it.
If you do want the spoilers, go to the website, horrorguys.com.
And you can read about them.
Yeah, the whole thing will be there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this is directed by Joel David Moore, written by Jung Ha and Joel David Moore, stars Mustafa Shakir, Joe Pantoliano, and Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. Hour and 23 minutes. Trailer in the show notes. And the promo material says, Jonathan Rhys-Meyers stars in Hide and Seek, now streaming on Redbox. The search for a missing brother reveals a terrifying family secret in this tense psychological thriller filled with shocking twists and nail-biting turns. Stream Hide and Seek instantly on Redbox On Demand today. Rated R from Paramount Pictures. And again, sign up for one of our 2 Twitter accounts or our email newsletter, and you've got a really good chance of winning one of our 9 copies of this.
We'll be giving them codes away. Yeah.
All right, for our opinion, spoiler-free, is that it's a slow-burn psychological thriller showing a stark contrast between the haves and the have-nots. When the two worlds start to overlap, it causes some deadly problems. All right.
Did you like it? Got you there.
I liked it until they explained everything. I did not like the ending. I don't want to spoil it, but I did not like the ending.
The ending almost made me want to see it again.
Actually, we played the ending twice to make sure we actually understood it.
To see if I liked it better.
What'd you think then?
Yeah, I wanted to like it more than I did.
Yeah, I think it was very well done, but the ending just...
I didn't quite...
it didn't make sense.
Really? What? Huh? Okay.
Okay, so we're not going to spoil the whole thing, but a woman goes home to a condemned building. She tells her mother that she knows an artist who's going to help her move out. Someone's been in her apartment and taken all her money. She plays back her security footage and finds the guy is standing right behind her, hidden in a motorcycle helmet. He then beats her to death as credits roll.
Dang.
Noah has taken over his father's hotel business. I guess maybe it's just a whole real estate thing. It's not just a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't know...
Oh, yeah, there's more to it than that. Lots of property.
But he doesn't have the old man's confidence or smarts. He's also not the legitimate heir, says the interviewer.
Well, he is, but the other brother would be legally entitled, but the will spells out that it all goes to him. Leaves out the other brother.
It's weird.
Which, by law isn't
why
normally
he's not
how
the legitimate heir. It doesn't make any sense, because he is. Oh, well.
Yeah.
He needs to make peace with his estranged brother to be fully accepted.
Because I think if the other brother stepped up and said, I want half, there could be real trouble.
Okay.
No.
Noah's got OCD and can't stand things being out of place or disordered. His lawyer friend shows Noah photos of Jacob, his brother. He's living in some derelict building downtown, and there's a girl who went missing in the same building. Noah goes to that building and has his phone stolen. He chases after the little girl who took it and gets his hand cut by a crazy homeless man. Sue Me, the lady who bandages Noah's hand, freaks out when he shows her the pictures of his brother. Noah finally gets into Jacob's apartment, and it's a mess. He finds a note. I am not a ghost. We then get a flashback to Jacob and Noah finding their mother's suicide. She also left a note saying, I am not a ghost. He runs into the man in the motorcycle helmet, and he thinks that it's Jacob, but they don't speak.
Yeah, he just takes off.
Noah does some research on the building Jacob lives in, and then has a nightmare about his brother that night. His daughter Hannah literally bumps into a man in a motorcycle helmet that night at the convenience store. Could he be following Noah's family?
Some stalking going on here.
Yeah, we should stop there.
Yeah.
All right, well, the first hour is very suspenseful and creepy, and you don't know what's going on for a very long while.
Makes you wonder what's going on, and you never see Noah and Jacob in the same... Well, you do sorta, maybe, but, Yeah, it just makes you wonder about a lot of things. Yeah.
Just from the trailer, I'm like thinking, they're really the same guy. Or there is no brother or
That's
something.
Initially what I thought, but there's way more to it than that.
It's not that simple. Then at the end, the reveal of the killer is pretty much out of the blue, and we're given no real foreshadowing or explanation of why this might be the case. Actually, nothing after this reveal makes too much sense. In the very final scene, we do get a semi-ambiguous closure on Jacob and Noah, but a lot of it still just doesn't make sense.
It didn't leave me satisfied.
No, not really.
But you should watch it yourself and see what you think.
Especially if you want a free copy.
Yeah. Because it's not a bad movie. We're not saying it's a bad movie.
It had a bad ending. I would go that far.
But maybe others love the ending. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's our show for this week. Stop in at horrorguys.com and read any of the reviews, including the spoilers on the hide and seek if you want to know all of it. Sign up for our newsletter, horrorbulletin.substack.com. This week we've got 2 bonus movies that aren't on the podcast. We've got Gremlins from 1984 and Silent Night from 2012. It's a remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night with Malcolm McDowell. Another guy who could read the phone book and we'd watch it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, next week we're going to have 4 more good films. Not holiday related this time. We're back to our regular format. We're going to talk about the little-known Face of the Screaming Werewolf from 1964.
That sounds serious.
He's screaming, and how do you make a werewolf scream?
Whoa.
You'll find out. The Very Weird Tourist Trap from 1979.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah. Wolfen from 1981. And the new release, Saint Maud from 2019.
Interesting.
And I'll let you figure out which one of those 4 movies we're going to have a giveaway on next week.
I know.
It's probably the newest one. I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
And we'll see you next week.
See ya.